AITA Hall for emasculating my 32 female, fiancé 38 male, in front of his family? My fiancé and I have been together for about 6 years, engaged for 2. After we got engaged, we sat down and had the deal breakers talk. Basically, things in our lives, our futures, hypothetical situations that leave little room for compromise, like adopting children, finances, family boundaries, religion, etc. One of the things on my list was no prenup. I'm not here to debate with anyone about their use. I just think that if you're preparing for divorce before even getting married, it's a sign that you're probably marrying the wrong person. He agreed, and everything was fine. Lately, his family, particularly his mother, keeps on bringing up signing a prenup. I've told her no many times, said this is an issue between us and we will discuss it privately and make our own decisions as a couple. He also tells her no, although more weakly. Well, last night we went there for dinner and she brought out an actual prenup drafted by her lawyer. She put it in front of me after dinner and told me to sign it. Obviously, I didn't even read it, let alone sign it. She called me a gold digger. No one, including my fiancé, stood up for me, so I stood up for myself. I told her that there's no gold to dig here. I make 4 times as much as he makes. I'm an MD and he dropped out second year. I've paid all of my student debt. He has over 100,000 left. I have my own house, ample savings, and will certainly inherit more from my parents than he will from his. They have 6 kids and are middle class. What is she worried about? That shut her up real quick, especially when my sister-in-law then said, if anything, he's the gold digger here. My fiancé is now angry with me. He said it was emasculating for his family to know I'm so much more successful than him, and his brothers are making jokes and changed his contact info to gold digger. Personally, I don't think I was rude or out of line, but he thinks I was an a-hole and could have handled it better. Am I the a-hole here? Now for the top comments. If there's anything emasculating here, it's that your fiancé can't keep mommy out of his relationships even as he approaches 40. Edit, not the a-hole. Didn't figure this would end up where judgments might be relevant. Holy smoke! I had skipped right over the rages. Have mercy. Future mother-in-law didn't come out of nowhere with this. I'd wager that either one, the fiancé lied to his mother and said he was the breadwinner, or B, his mother assumed he was the higher earner and he went along with it. That's why I didn't defend Opie. Not the a-hole. He didn't stand up for you, so you did for yourself. That's on him. But I'd seriously reconsider a relationship with a partner who thinks it's emasculating to make less money. I would do a prenup for my own sake if I were Opie in case the relationship ends. Not the a-hole. He didn't find gold digger title offensive or insulting when it was directed at you, but it's a problem if he's called one? If I can ask, why do you want to be part of this crap show? Your future mother-in-law doesn't even pretend to respect you or your boundaries. She doesn't like you because she sees you as being beneath the family and trying to marry up. Your fiancé does nothing to intervene when his family is inappropriate and rude. His masculinity and how it's perceived are more important to him than how you feel when disrespected by his family. His idea of love is damaging. After you marry, the only thing that might change is your last name. The rest of this will not. From the little I can gather here, you bring too many great things to the table just to sit down with him and starve. To be honest, I am second-guessing things. His family's Middle Eastern and traditional, but he was raised here, so he doesn't share the same values. As he gets older, he seems to be getting weaker when standing up to his parents. His parents see me as below him because I am white and not a good girl. That is, won't cook, / clean more than my fair share. I'm career-minded, want to adopt, don't want to be a stay-at-home mother. I'm not religious. This generally doesn't affect me because he usually stands up for me and our time is limited with them. But I do feel it's getting worse. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for kicking my boyfriend's friend out and making him homeless because he wouldn't take off his shoes? I, 22 female, and my boyfriend, 24 male, decided to let his friend, 24 male, stay here a while because he was homeless living in a tent when we picked him up. The agreement was a few days, but it's turned into a month now. We have a 1-bedroom house and I have a 3-year-old stepson. It's already cramped. Things were okay, except for the fact that I am a big clean freak. I just like my house clean. I deep clean every weekend. My dishes are done and kitchen cleaned and wiped down after every meal. My biggest thing is the floors being clean, because I hate walking around with no socks or shoes and things getting stuck on my feet. I grew up with addicts, and the house was disgusting. My house being messy gives me anxiety because of this. I'm in therapy. He got a job mowing. Great. He's on a track to get out of here. It's a rule in our house that if you aren't a guest, you take your shoes off at the door. Our 3-year-old takes them off when he walks inside. Close family visiting take them off when they come inside. I've taught my 8-month puppy to wipe her feet off on the mat outside. He never takes his shoes off. I ask him nicely the first 3 weeks. Since he mows, his shoes are caked in grass. He never cleans up after himself, whether it's the floor or his dishes or his own dirty clothes. When I mentioned it, he doesn't even get the broom and clean it up. I've swept the entire house every day since I started staying here. Yesterday, he walked inside, stomped all around hardwood floors. The whole house is hardwood and tile. When I came out of my room and saw this, I raised my voice and said, "Walk outside, take your freaking shoes off, pick them up, bring them inside and put them on the mat." It is not that hard. My 3-year-old and my dog can do it. Why can't you? He said, "You're going to have to remind me every day because I forget. It's grass. You don't have to be a witch." I then told him to get his stuff and get out. It's disrespectful, a slob, and I don't need to remind a grown man to take his shoes off every day. I don't have to remind a 3-year-old or my 8-month dog. He got pissed off and yelled stuff, so I threw all his stuff outside. My boyfriend got home and I told him he called me a witch, and I went outside and they were yelling. I just feel bad because now he's homeless. My boyfriend understands and doesn't want him here if he's going to disrespect me while living here and eating our food for free. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. It's not his house, and you guys are literally housing and feeding him for free. He can take his damn shoes off. That's what I was thinking. I've lived with a friend for free before and anything they asked me to do was respected. Especially something so simple. I even gave them money where I could. And they had some weird house rules, lol. I didn't stay there for very long, but when I was there, I was extremely grateful and did whatever asked within reason. He's homeless because he chose to be. Definitely not the a-hole. I was in his shoes last year when my school left me homeless due to COVID, and I had to sleep on a friend's couch in their 1-bedroom apartment until I could afford to fly to live with my family. The situation sucked for everyone, so I at least made it easier on my friends by cleaning their house for them every day between classes and while they were at work. It really helped them because they had been depression nesting for months beforehand, and it helped me keep a roof over my head until I was a bit more stable. The kindness you extend to him needs to be reciprocated, and him calling you a witch for his ahatery shows how little he respects your homemade rules. Not an a-hole. It's not that hard a rule to follow. Keeping clean when you have a 3-year-old and a puppy is also important. It sounds like he has issues to work through, but you're not his therapist. Oh, he definitely has issues, which is another reason I feel bad. Before he was homeless, he got his then girlfriend pregnant, now ex, and the baby was stillborn, which still affects him. 100% understandable. It'll affect him for the rest of his life. Shortly after the baby was born, he dabbled with hard substances but got clean. I don't know. I feel bad that he went through all that, and now he's homeless because he wouldn't take his shoes off. I'm considering letting him come back if he will just take his shoes off and clean after himself, but I don't want to be called names or disrespected again, and I definitely don't want to sweep again for the next 3 to 5 days. Next story is titled, "Am I the a-hole for firmly telling my husband that I'll continue to let the kids see their grandmother whether he likes it or not?" My husband and I have been married for 8. We have 2 kids, 6 and 3. He was adopted. His bio mom reached out recently. He was very open for a relationship with her and kept seeing her alone for months till he started taking me and the kids to visit. His bio mom was mean to me while nice to the kids. I was never welcomed by her. My mother-in-law, on the other hand, adoptive mother, is the most generous, sympathetic woman I've met. She and my husband are no longer in good terms, and he stopped visiting her months ago. He'd take the kids to see his bio mom often and at odd times, like during school hours or late nights when kids should be sleeping. Whenever I point that out to him, he'd say the kids needed to bond with their bio grandma. He'd get upset whenever I take the kids to see their grandmother and would start arguing. He doesn't talk to his adoptive mom because his bio mom influenced him. She's nasty, and he's been acting irrationally ever since she came into the picture. Yesterday, I was getting the kids ready to go to celebrate their grandmother's birthday. My husband didn't want to go. He asked where we were going. I told him, and he started arguing about how he's in no contact with her, therefore the kids shouldn't go to see his adoptive mom. I told him me and the kids have the right to see her since she loves us, and they absolutely love her. So robbing the kids of a relationship with her suddenly was not acceptable. He said they have grandma, his bio, and I should respect/encourage them to have a relationship with her too. I said I'm not stopping the kids, but he was the one stopping the kids from seeing the grandmother, quite frankly, been there their entire lives. Called me a hypocrite for complaining while doing the same thing. I'm not. It's different to not get along with someone than demand and dictate if others should talk to or see them. I lost control, and I just blew up, saying I will be continuing to let the kids have a relationship with their grandma whether he likes it or not. We ended up going to the birthday. Mother-in-law is devastated to say the least. Her son didn't come and hadn't been visiting. We got home and we were silent all evening. He fed the kids, did the dishes, then stopped by the bedroom door to tell me he was going to see his mom for an hour and ask if I needed anything. I asked him what would it possibly need at 11 p.m. He started laughing, then gave me a look, then walked out. Still thinks I was wrong for how I blew up. Now for the top comments. What on earth is going on there? It's all very weird. His behavior screams affair. But it's his mom he's seeing, so I would tell him point blank his behavior is strange and out of character, and it looks like a red flag to you. I have a feeling we're missing a lot of this story. I have a feeling that Opie is missing a lot of this story. Info: why is he no longer in contact with his adoptive mom? That's the important part, really. If it's trivial reasons, then you're completely in the right. But if he has genuinely big reasons, then it's a bit murkier. He claims that she doesn't want him to see and visit his bio mom, which is not true because I've seen how he's been lashing out only because his adoptive asks why he doesn't visit anymore. Is there a chance he is abusing substances with his bio mother? The strange hours could indicate coke or meth. Why was he leaving to see his bio mom at 11 p.m.? That's sketchy. But no, not the a-hole. He essentially dumped the mother that raised him for his bio mom, and now he expects his family to do the same. She has been a wonderful grandma and mother-in-law for many years, so there was no reason to stop having a relationship with her. He can work on and encourage the kids to have a relationship with his bio mom, but that's on him. Honestly, pay attention, because I assume he will start saying mean things about mother-in-law, like she's not your real grandma, so the kids will find favor in bio. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for not cleaning up after my shower to prove a point? Hi. We recently moved to our new house. All good except for this issue. Whenever my husband takes a shower, he leaves the bathroom wet. And I mean slippery wet. I talked to him about it. Did a PowerPoint presentation about it with the help of my son's photography skills. Reminded him about it. No avail. Still nothing's changed. Our youngest son would run to the bathroom barefoot. Yes, and might slip since the floor is wet. Soapy. He didn't see how wet it was cause I end up cleaning. Not for him but for the kids, so the kids could use it safely. Last week, before he used the bathroom, I went in and took a shower. Then I got my stuff and got out. He was in a hurry. He immediately walked in with his shaving tools, saying he had an important meeting with his buddies at the restaurant and wanted to get there first. He suddenly stopped talking and started yelling, "What is this? What the hell is this? Why is the floor wet?" He looked disgusted, saying I should have cleaned up before getting out the shower. I stood at the door with my eyes rolling so hard I was brain dead for 6 seconds. The hypocrisy! He was barefoot and looked quite disgusted, saying he couldn't spend another minute with his feet on soapy, wet floor. He immediately ran out and went on to lecture me about how unacceptable that was. I told him that's what I deal with whenever he takes a shower. He tried to argue back, saying it was just me using excessive amounts of water, but I told him it's the same outcome. He threw a fit about needing the bathroom floor clean so he could shave and then go to the restaurant ASAP. I handed him the mop and told him it won't take long to mop the floor clean, then I went to get my clothes. He was upset, but cleaned up, got dressed, and left. He texted saying he was the last to show up. They had a bet that the last one to show up at the restaurant pays for half their meals, and told me the mopping I made him do because of my shower cost him X amount of money. And to add insult to injury, his buddies were laughing at the reason why he was late, and were basically mopping the floor with his integrity. I was too busy with the kids to respond. Plus, I thought he needed time to calm down. But still, he got home and kept bringing it up, making me feel bad. Not Dehal. You aren't a maid. The fact that he expects you to mop up after everybody, but throws a toddler temper tantrum when he's given a taste of his own medicine, is insane. It's strange how many husbands just expect their wives to be maids/clean up everything. It's why I don't have one. I didn't get a master's degree to be someone's maid. Info. Is there something wrong with the shower? The water should be contained to the actual shower area, not to fill the bathroom with soapy water. It's possible this is not a typical Western style. Some countries have the whole bathroom tiled and don't have a separate shower, but rather the whole thing is the shower. That's what went through my mind. If not, there's a bigger problem.
Am I the a-hole for being okay with my stepkids refusing to include me or have a relationship with me? I met my husband 2 years after his divorce. He was on decent terms with his ex-wife, and they shared custody of their 2 children civilly. She and I got along fine when we met. I was introduced to her briefly before the kids. Then I met the kids, and we got along really well. We even had a photo of just me and them taken on my husband's and my wedding day. Things with his ex got a little weird after the wedding. My husband's ex was different. I still can't describe it perfectly, but it was like she spoke with a small amount of hostility that hadn't been there before. It was such a small change, but we noticed it and tried asking her about it. She denied there were any problems. She even remarried herself and divorced soon after. My husband and I have twins together. When I was pregnant with them was when his ex's hostility was no longer hidden, and she was no longer saying everything was fine. She told my husband she was keeping the kids and that he would never see them again. He told her he would fight in court for them, which unfortunately had to happen because she withheld and even refused to hand them back over when the police were called to intervene. My husband was told he had to get the police involved so he could document her withholding the kids. Texts would not be enough. This continued for several months, and I gave birth during that time. When it finally went before a judge, he ordered my husband to get primary custody, and his ex would only be allowed supervised visits. At the time, my stepkids were 10 and 7. My relationship with my stepkids changed after this. They had heard nothing but awful things about me when their mom withheld them from us, and they believed her. I was told every day that they hated me. They told me I was never going to be their real family and that they didn't have to be nice to me or listen to me. They would also make things harder for me, hiding or breaking things I was using, throwing stuff at me, cussing at me, and screaming at me at the top of their lungs. We got them therapy, and my husband told them disrespect would not be tolerated. It was a long, hard battle to get rid of the bad behavior. Even when a lot of it stopped, it didn't all go away. They were still cold and distant. They would answer, but it was always short, clipped responses, and there was no return of affection. They even tore up photos of us from before and cut me out of family photos they had. I was just there to be loving and a safe space for them. I never pushed or tried to punish them after a point, but I did keep loving them and was always open to them coming to me if they needed me. However, I logically saw that no change was happening. No amount of time or therapy thawed them out even a little. I saw the writing on the wall. I got my biological children therapy to help them deal with everything happening in the home. I spoke to my husband. He believed they would see the truth eventually and soften toward me again because I was good to them and wasn't being forced on them. In April, my stepdaughter turned 18 and moved into her mom's house. She graduated at the end of May and refused to invite me. She told my husband and her grandparents, my husband's parents, they were welcome, but not me or our kids. She had 3 tickets for them. My husband hesitated, but I told him to go and show her he still loved her. Her grandparents went too. A few weeks later, my stepson, who's 21, and his partner welcomed their first child. It was around this time that my stepkids told the family group chat that they wanted nothing to do with me. I was not going to meet my stepson's child or any future kids. I was not family. They would never make their mom deal with me, and they did not want me mentioned around them or the baby ever. I saw it coming and had prepared for it so I could handle it. My husband's parents saw me doing okay and took it as me not caring at all. I tried explaining it to them, but they said that if I truly cared, I would be a mess and would be begging my stepkids to love me and stop this. My husband told them I had time to prepare, but they said if I loved the kids, I never would have prepared myself because I would have hoped it into reality. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your husband's kids sound like demon spawns from hell. I would focus on your own children and your family and keep no contact with them. His parents need to shut up because they have no idea how you feel or how the spawns acted. You knew the kids wouldn't change and prepared yourself for that. My stepkids were alienated by their mother. None of this is really their fault. They were put in a position to choose. And sadly, even when a parent doesn't put the kids first, it's hard to compete with the real parent. That is true for when they were kids, but now they are grown adults who can make their own choices and see the whole picture, yet they still act like a-holes. Sometimes the whole picture doesn't happen when it's the parent they have always loved versus the step-parent who was once new. The connection is different when the bond between child and biological or legal parent is that strong. They love their mom more, and she would never be okay with them having us both after all that's happened. What the stepkids did as children can be forgiven as childish behavior. Decisions they take as adults, however, must be accepted as final. They want you distraught because kids who have hated you for about 11 years still don't want you, laughing out loud. Forget them. Don't try to explain anything. It is their grandchildren who have made a very clear choice. If they want to change that choice, then they should deal with their grandkids. Otherwise, OP well done. You did your best for all these years. Now they can deal with their father and mother, and you can stay out of it. Oh, by the way, down the line when it comes, don't be left alone with that step-grandkid. It's a can of worms you want to avoid with a passion. Even if it is an emergency, do not under any circumstance treat it as anything but a trap. Not the a-hole. It is very clear to me that I will never lay eyes on my husband's grandchild, let alone any other children my stepkids may have. They are very clearly drawing that line between me and them. My in-laws can't understand being in my shoes. They have never been step-parents or dealt with the troubles as directly as I did. The kids still love them, but I have felt for years that things would never be the same. And after some time, I realized this was coming because, in the end, it would come down to a choice between me or their mom, and that was not something I could win, even if I didn't want to be in a situation like that. But she made it that choice. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife why our daughter doesn't trust her? So for the last few years, me, 36, and my wife, 34, have had a very strained relationship due to the way my daughter and wife interact. It started when my daughter was 13. She came to her mother and confided her feelings about our family friend's son. My wife decided that this was too cute not to share, and told everyone during a family barbecue, including the boy. This embarrassed my daughter, and I told my wife to stop as this upset our daughter. But my wife justified it at the time because they were just kids. I've always known my wife has a hard time keeping secrets, but I thought she would have at least tried since this was a touchy subject, especially for a growing teenager with her first real crush. After this incident, I started noticing things like this more, like my wife openly telling everyone our daughter's business. Admittedly, most of these incidents went unnoticed by me for years, because they were usually conversations between my wife and her friends when I wasn't around. She didn't like it when I interrupted girl time. However, I am noticing more now, my wife telling everyone about my daughter's private business, like texts, phone calls, and other secrets that she told her mom in the past, believing they would be kept private. As everything progressed, my daughter started getting closer to me, and I became the default parent who deals with medical issues, school drama, and crushes. This has upset my wife because my daughter refuses to have girl talk with her anymore, is usually cold, and doesn't like spending time with her. My wife decided to try and punish our daughter after finding out she got her first boyfriend and didn't tell her. Our daughter is 16 now, and I don't feel like it's necessary to punish her for these things when she has made a conscious decision to protect her privacy. I know she still loves her mom, but I understand her not sharing things she doesn't want to be spread or blown out of proportion. I came home to my wife yelling at our daughter and demanding her phone, her laptop, etc., all over this situation. This made me very angry because my daughter was in tears. She is still my little girl and doesn't deserve to be punished over something her own mother caused. I told my wife to leave her alone and that we would talk, but I also told her to give back the items, which my wife refused. She started screaming at me in front of our daughter, something I don't like, as I prefer to have calm conversations away from our daughter to prevent making her feel scared or uncomfortable. Eventually, after multiple attempts to calm her down so we could discuss this properly, she grabbed my arm and started digging her nails into my skin. I had enough at that point. I started ranting about how she always told our daughter's business to people, and how basically the whole family and all our friends knew everything about our daughter's personal life and medical history. I told her it was her fault our daughter doesn't trust her anymore, which made my wife start crying. She locked herself in the bedroom while I comforted our daughter and went out to get her some dinner. Now I'm home and getting the silent treatment from my wife. I'm wondering if I could have said something different, but I'm tired of her blaming our daughter every time she doesn't get told something. Now for the top comments before the mini update. Not the a-hole. Your wife freaking sucks. Your wife sucks in so many ways. First, her blabbermouth. Second, her punishment makes no sense. I'm grounding you until you start giving me what I want is stupid and ineffectual. I'm glossing over the fact that it is too harsh and doesn't do anything to understand or solve the underlying problem, because I'm stuck on how dumb these types of punishments are. I'll hurt you until you love me is not a winning strategy. Third, she isn't communicating with her big girl words, and is instead pouting and hoping you'll cave because she is in the finding out stage of her dumb need to gossip, and she doesn't like it. Fourth, she physically assaulted her husband in front of their child. Physical assault should always be a one and done. Once your partner lays hands on you, that is it. Break up. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go to jail. OP, please take your daughter and leave. Pouting, screaming, attacking with nails. OP needs to get a lawyer and put his daughter first. This, because she doesn't think she's done anything wrong. I wonder when it's going to click with OP that his wife's girls know everything about their finances, sex life, and his medical history. Not the a-hole. And good on you for protecting your daughter. Her insistence on violating her privacy will only continue to hurt her. And now she has gotten physically aggressive with you. I highly suggest family therapy and couples counseling if you want to be anything but miserable in this marriage. She's not about to magically see why she's wrong and value and respect your daughter's privacy. Your daughter will want to apply to a school far away where she never sees her if she can't get her act together. Best of luck to you and your daughter. Thank you for actually bringing up family therapy. I've been debating this for a long time because I can see how strained our family is. But I've been apprehensive because I know my wife would most likely be very defensive if I brought it up. But I feel like it's really going to be inevitable at this point. I will have a discussion with her and see how this goes. Family therapy or divorce because that's where things are headed. Edit/mini update. I have read many comments talking about my wife, and I am seriously taking this all in. I really don't want my daughter to think this is okay for her future husband to treat her this way, so I am requesting my wife attend therapy by herself before she can join me and my daughter in family therapy. I am not putting my daughter in a situation where her mother will probably use the therapy sessions to punish her, as many have pointed out. If she refuses, I will look into separation because I have realized my daughter needs her dad to keep her safe, and she won't be safe if her mother is acting this way and normalizing this behavior. I am scared for my future, honestly, but I am also hopeful that I can show my daughter she is loved and safe. I will be sending my daughter to stay with her aunt for the rest of the week while I have this conversation, because I am not taking any chances that she'll have to listen to an argument between me and my wife. Last story. My dad tried to introduce his girlfriend, and it turned out to be my ex-best friend's mom. My 26 female went low contact with my childhood best friend Lila when I was 19, after she spread some truly nasty rumors about me. These weren't silly teenage whispers either. She told people I was sleeping with my teacher and stealing money from my parents. None of it was true, but it was humiliating. My social circle completely imploded, and I cut her off for my own sanity. We haven't spoken in years, and honestly, I thought I had left that part of my life behind. My parents divorced when I was a kid, and my dad, 51 male, hasn't really dated much since then. Recently, though, he called me up and said he wanted me to come to dinner because he had someone special for me to meet. I was actually happy for him. I thought maybe he'd finally met someone who made him feel excited about life again. I nearly choked when I walked into the restaurant. Sitting next to him was none other than Lila's mom, the same woman who once told me I was a bad influence on her daughter and outright banned me from their house. She was all smiles, hugged me like we were long-lost family, and kept saying how funny it was that life had brought us back together. I just sat there stunned while my dad grinned from ear to ear, clearly over the moon about this new relationship, and completely oblivious to how awkward the situation was for me. The dinner was surreal. Lila's mom kept bringing up stories from when Lila and I were kids, acting like we had just drifted apart naturally. Not a single acknowledgement of what actually happened, no apology, not even a hint that she understood why this might be uncomfortable for me. My dad just kept encouraging me to share funny memories and seemed thrilled that his girlfriend and I already knew each other so well. I'm at a loss here. Part of me wants to tell my dad exactly why this feels so bizarre and why I have such a complicated history with his family. The other part of me wonders if I should just let it go, be polite, and keep my distance when necessary. Am I justified in feeling this uncomfortable, or is this one of those situations where I need to swallow my pride and just support my dad? You're not overreacting. This is a weird collision of past hurt and your dad's new life, and it makes total sense that your body went, absolutely not. Your dad probably has no idea about the depth of what happened with Lila and her mom, so step one is a calm, private talk with him, where you give just enough context to explain the knot in your stomach. Keep it simple. Dad, I want you to be happy, and I'm glad you're dating again. I also need you to know that Lila and her mom were a painful part of my past. There were rumors, and I was banned from their house. Seeing her mom suddenly as your girlfriend was a shock. I can be polite, but I'm not ready for closeness here. Please don't put me in shared events or try to fix anything between us. Ask for a couple of concrete things. No surprise joint dinners for a while. No pressure to reconcile with Lila. And discretion about your personal life. You don't want info passed along the grapevine. If his girlfriend brings up how funny it all is, you can gray rock it. Wild coincidence. I'm keeping my distance from that part of the past. Change the subject. You don't owe a rehash or forgiveness arc to make anyone comfortable. If your dad hears you and respects the boundary, great. You can support his happiness on your terms. If he waves it off or keeps pushing group hangouts, it's okay to opt out of those invitations and see him one-on-one for a bit. I'm happy to grab lunch with just you next week, is a complete sentence. The bottom line is, you don't have to swallow discomfort to be a good daughter. Be civil, be clear, and protect your peace. If the relationship with her becomes easier over a time, cool. If not, that's also fine. Your dad's girlfriend can be his person without becoming your person. Consider this. Guys getting some are not gonna listen to their daughter's complaints about 7 years ago stuff. Guys getting some aren't going to listen to complaints about 7 seconds ago stuff. All they care about is getting some, especially not drama. Anything that doesn't involve them being either the victim or the aggressor is going to be considered drama.